what did you think about Tiger Woods winning? I thought we've spoke about him before on a previous podcast
Yeah,
about the comeback.
I don't follow golf, but obviously Tiger Woods is a name that transcends just golf. And I assumed that he was gone, he'd retired, and I knew that he'd sort of come back.
Yeah.
But he was always down the bottom of the ratings and stuff. I knew he wasn't doing very well, so yeah.
Well, we'll see now. So going on to May, this is when it starts getting, I think from May up until September, there's quite a lot over the summer because it's just
tricky.
Summer. So in May, I'm just going to have a look to see if there's anything. Okay, so Premier League, Man City clinched it, winning it by a point.
Yeah,
I know
I was there. I was at Anfield.
And you were there at Anfield, and I think it's coming to a close on the TV program we're watching as well. Yeah. So we will probably be able to relive it. But what was your? Here we are, right on cue.
That's us beating Man United.
Oh, I was going to say, I could see a red team and the flames of the Molineux being shown.
It was at Anfield. No, the last day of the season, I remember getting to Anfield and not being not sort of. It wasn't a carnival atmosphere. I think they'd sort of accepted that Man City were going to beat Brighton. There was nothing and they might beat us. And I remember coming to the game as well. Our season was over. We'd finished 7th, and we couldn't finish any lower.
Yeah, and the FA Cup you didn't have the FA Cup. Whereas I think at the time everyone was could Wolves be playing a weakened team and stuff like that? But whereas it didn't really.
I mean, we still could have played a weakened team anyway. The week before against Fulham, we played a very strong team, but then we bought on. For the last minute of the game, it was the strangest thing ever. Max Kilman and Will Norris came on for literally 10 seconds.
Yeah.
They came on, the referee blew the whistle, so they'd had a Premier League appearance because they'd been on the bench a lot. But yeah, there was a bit of discussion. Wolves could have played a weakened team, but Liverpool, I think we owed it to the competition to play a strong team, and we did.
Yeah.
Liverpool it would have taken a miracle for that Brighton team to beat Man City.
Yeah.
But what I remember of the game is that Brighton won a corner early on in the game, and there were some Wolves fans sitting up to our right in the main stand of the Liverpool in the boxes.
Yeah.
And they cheered when Brighton won this corner.
Yeah.
And it ripples down to the main stand, and then suddenly the whole of Anfield's cheering because they think Brighton have scored, but actually it was just a corner and Wolves fans were winding them up.
Yeah.
But then Brighton actually score from that corner. So then there is genuine cheers going up everywhere. Yeah. And
do you think that City were looking at now Liverpool? You've just seen both teams this recently. Do you think City deserved to win it last year? Were they deserved champions last year?
Yeah, they did, and particularly since Christmas when I think they won 14 games in a row to win the title. We've just heard, I think, that Liverpool was 7 points clear. I think they're 8 points clear, something like that at the start of the year. But they kept on drawing those games. There was a game against Everton that they drew 0-0 that sticks out in my memory.
Yeah.
And they weren't winning games ugly like they are now.
Now, yeah.
They didn't
have obviously their new signing of VAR to help them, as I'm sure we'll get onto later.
Well, the difference with Liverpool and City this year is that Liverpool haven't made any signings really in the summer, and people were thinking, oh well, are they going to be able to challenge?
Yeah.
But City lost Vincent Kompany at the end of last year, and the goal that he scored against Leicester that won them the title. They lack in that leadership, and that was really clear to see last week when we beat them. When they'd gone down to 10 men, but they were 2-0 up in the game. They didn't have any.
And they took Aguero off, didn't they?
Well, because he'd only just come back from injury.
No, just thinking of a leader. I don't know how much he's much of a leader, but he's probably the most experienced player they've probably got.
You look for a defender really to lead your team, or somebody at the back.
Fernandinho was he?
Fernandinho was probably the captain, but he's not really much of a leader. De Bruyne as well, you could argue, was one. But City were last season were amazing and deservedly won the league.
Yeah.
Liverpool have, similar to how they lost the Champions League final in 2018.
Yeah.
What's that noise?
I don't know, but I can hear some whistling.
It's really loud in here, but anyway. So they lost the Champions League final in 2018 and then came back really, really strong. They've done that again this year.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be as dominant in the second half of the season as they have been in the first.
Yeah, I think the schedule, because obviously the Champions League hots up, and
I could see Liverpool winning the treble. proper treble, not the
FA
City
Cup,
treble.
Champions League, and the league.
Because I think their squad is so good. You look at somebody like Divock Origi.
I think the problem is if they do lose. If they lose a couple, it's not even one. If they lose a couple of, if they lose the particular players, it's not like whereas City they can just bring on, but it doesn't seem that they've managed to do that. It depends, I think, on January now, obviously. Who I think City are going to go out and splash the cash, but
it's difficult in January to sign anybody who's any good, because if they are good, the teams are not going to want to let them go for a massive amount of money.
Yeah,
and although City do have enormous amounts to be able to spend, they have certain, financial fair play to live with.
So we had that.
The FA Cup final as well was. I remember I tried to avoid it because I was really depressed about it, because I just wanted Wolves should have been there and we shot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
But I remember I was playing cricket on that day, and usually I'd try and watch as much of it as I could, but I went out to umpire because I'd got out really cheaply, and I went out to umpire and I umpired the whole game. And I just said, "Can you just tell me, please, if Man City score?"
Yeah.
And every couple of minutes, people were coming out just holding their hands up with the score. So it was. I think it was the biggest win in a cup final for like 80 years.
Yeah, I think
somebody else had won 6-1 or 7-1 in a cup final, but it was outstanding.
I think because they were saying, "Oh, they're gonna go for it," and whatnot. So a couple of things which happened. So the question that I've got is, Chelsea beat Arsenal in the Europa League final. But can you remember in which city it was?
It was in Baku.
It was in Baku,
in Azerbaijan.
In Hazard's game. I remember watching that, and I think it was pretty nailed on by that point that Hazard were going, and we absolutely.
Did he score in that game?
Yeah, he ran the show. He was literally head and shoulders. Like I think we absolutely dominated. I think did we win 3-1, 4-1? And it was just a masterclass from him. And since I don't think he's managed to go on.
He put on about 3
He put on a load of weight at Real Madrid, and he's not reached the heights. But I think
he's one of those players that if he's not the
top player, which has a lot of most of Real Madrid signings have been at the minute. So that was that. Another couple of things which happened.
It was just to come back to the Europa League final. It was I remember getting quite emotional watching Sarri get his first ever medal.
Because
and the way that he was looking at it in his hands, and then he got his big cigar
out, and that was how he left the club shortly after. 2 other things which happened. Niki Lauda, we spoke about on a previous podcast. He passed away in May, which made massive headlines, and we've spoke previously about him, so I won't. But it was sad to see that happen. And Danny Baker got fired for his comments. Can you remember what his comments were?
It wasn't a comment. It was a photo that he put on.
Oh yeah. It was a. Can you remember what it was about?
Yeah, it was the birth of Prince Harry's child. I don't know if he's a boy or a girl. I
can't remember off the top of my head.
But what he did was he posted a picture of 2 well-to-do people and a monkey in a suit. Yeah, and people deemed it as racist comment because, of course, Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle, is of African American descent. Her mother is black. I think she's mixed race.
I think
so. People saw it as a racist comment, but Danny Baker defended himself, saying that it was more of a comment on our society, that this child had been born and was going to be basically seen as a monkey in a cage for the rest of his life in a zoo. So
So I think it was. I think since, I don't know if he's back with the BBC, but I know...
No, he won't be.
But because I know his podcast, because I listened to Lineker and Baker podcast, as soon as that was cut short, that they didn't do it, stopped doing it, but they've since started. So I don't know if it's they've gone their own and done it on their own, or whether he was with the BBC, but I'm presuming it's not. So we're on to July now. June, sorry. I just jumped down. So a lot happened in June as well. Just looking
Champions League final was on the 1st of June.
Champions League final was first.
It was like the worst pre-season friendly you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was like 3-week gap between the end of the Premier League season and that game. It was ridiculous.
It was massive. So there's a question here. Whose handball gave away the early penalty in the Champions League final?
I saw it yesterday.
I was thinking the same. I thought I was.
I think it was Sissoko. or it might have been Sanchez.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think who might have started for Spurs because I don't know, I can't remember.
I think it's one. I think
it might have been Sissoko.
Yeah. Well, again, we've already spoke about Liverpool and their dominance and stuff, and we've spoken about the 4 English, because obviously there were 4 English teams. Can you see something similar happening again? Because obviously this year now, I know jumping ahead, but we were talking yesterday about all the teams progressing. We think it's probably one of the first times.
I think it is the first time
where all the English teams which have entered the European competition have progressed to the next. It's a knockout stage in the Europa League now as well, isn't it? Yeah. So they've all progressed to the knockout stages. You've got not Club Espanyol. Club Brugge have got who's
United.
United, yeah. How you as was it your grandfather you were saying?
He thought we were playing Barcelona because they're called Espanyol Barcelona. So he got very excited and thought we were playing Barcelona.
Rate your chances.
Well, they're bottom of La Liga and they've only won 2 games this year, so they're guaranteed to beat us.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. So I was going to say
they've just got a new manager as well, so they'll have 2 months to make sure that he gets the best players.
Yeah, and they've got the break obviously now as well.
Yeah, but it's cool. It hasn't affected us really, and we've got through the tough part of it, because the toughest part of the Europa League is the qualifying stages and the early part of the season. We didn't lose until the beginning of September, then we lost again against Chelsea, but we've got a long unbeaten run, and we're doing really well in the league, and now it's quite spread out, because we don't play again until February, but then I think it's quite intense from February to the final if you get through. Wolves fans are quite
optimistic.
Yeah, we think that we could probably win it. Because
I think now, because obviously we were there, like, I think then you've got this round, next round, and then is that it?
It's last 32, last 16, quarterfinal, semis.
Yeah, because I think they draw. If I remember, they draw them unlike the Champions League.
Yeah, I think so.
Or you know who you're going to face almost.
Yeah, we haven't done the last 16 draw hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that does still happen because I know it used to.
The semi-final, I think that you'll know the semi-final is drawn, so you know you're going to face either. So once you get to the semi-final, well, not the semi-final stage. Obviously, when you play the semi-final, you know it's going to be one of the other 2 teams. But
it's quite exciting for Wolves fans, and I think the club have really been enthusiastic about it, because Wolves have got this great tradition of playing in Europe as well from the 50s and 60s and 70s, but we haven't had the chance to for a long time.
Yeah.
So we've really gone for it. But the mistake that we've made is that in the summer we didn't go and buy loads of players or really enhance the squad because they weren't sure whether they were going to qualify or not.
Yeah.
Which is a bit short-sighted, I think, and now because we've done so well, they're probably not going to invest so much money.
And the problem you've got as well, you can't, the players, the clubs that you're probably going to be looking at, or the players you're going to be looking at, are probably going to be cup tight. So you could sign a player potentially from abroad and not be able to use them in the Europa League. You can obviously use them in the Premier League, unless you sign, because I know you can sign, if you signed a Champions League player, they can play, and vice versa.
Yeah, so Hwang from Salzburg is the player that we're linked with at the moment.
Yeah,
he would be okay, I think, because he hasn't played in the Europa League yet. But Salzburg have dropped down, so if he was to stay, then
Chelsea have got Bayern Munich, and I think looking at who we could have potentially got, they're not firing on all cylinders. We're not that consistent at the minute, so I'm pretty happy with that.
We're very, very happy, and I'm very optimistic as well for a very good run.
Anyway, back to June of this year. Yeah. We've had a little bit digress. The FIFA Women's World Cup started and ended in July, but it started in June and ended in July. Did you watch much of it, or?
No, to be honest, without sounding horrible, because there's a lot of women's sport that is very good. Women's cricket is very good. Athletics and stuff like that is very, very good. But women's football needs to change for it to attract the masses, because I think it was America against Vietnam or somebody, was it?
Yeah.
Or Malaysia, that they beat 14-0.
They absolutely battered them, yeah.
Because they're playing in full-size goals. They're playing in... And it is a fact that women are smaller than men.
On average, the average woman is smaller than men.
So cricket pitches are made smaller so that there are the same amount of boundaries that you'd see in a men's game. So the goals need to be made smaller and the pitches need to be made smaller.